your nickname is the Cuban Cowboy, right?
Yeah.
That you go as the Cuban Cowboy. You're born here in Miami, but your grandparents are Cuban?
Yes.
So how do you, I guess, kind of embrace that name of the Cuban Cowboy? Because Cuban music obviously skews more white American.
Right.
Yet us Hispanics fucking love country music. We listen to it.
Yeah.
I know we do. I do. A bunch of my friends do. We enjoy it, even though we're Cuban and we're Hispanic, but we really like the country music. So how have you really kind of embraced that name of the Cuban Cowboy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm super proud of it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just proud to represent not only my family, my grandparents, but also my community, man. Like growing up here in Miami, I just feel so much love for this place and for the Cuban community. And so I'm really proud to wear that name. But I feel like I'm trying to implement it more into my music. I'm trying to represent even more. And that's still a process I'm going through. I came out with that one song, Motherland, which was about my my story, but also is really the Cuban American story, which that hit here in Miami and in the Cuban American community. So super proud of that one. I'm trying to do that again, but even better. I'm trying to implement those elements of salsa, of Cuban music that we love into country music.
Very cool.
Which is obviously my passion. I think it'll go hand in hand because, like you said, we love country music.
Yeah.
Mr. Mac.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Stay Tranquilo Podcast. We are here joined by Orlando Mendez, aka the Cuban Cowboy, and it's a very long overdue. We're gonna get into a little bit of Orlando's story, how he got into country music, and just the current state of where you're at with things. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun episode. I'm a big country music fan myself. It's something that I kind of grew up around, so I'm excited to do this, and it's something that me as like personal, I'm excited about. So appreciate you for being here.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be cool.
So you got a busy kind of last couple of days. Tell the people a little bit about what's been going on the last week or two.
Yeah. So my band and I are touring. We took off from Nashville yesterday at around 7 a.m. We got here to Miami at 1:30 a.m.
Crazy.
We have a show today, Cooper City. Then we take off right from here to Charleston, South Carolina for a show tomorrow. And then back to Nashville.
Yeah.
So it's a typical little weekend run of craziness.
Yeah. I feel the music world, I guess, is like that, right? Where it's just always go, go, go. You're on the move a lot. You're trying to plug yourself in as many places as possible to get that exposure.
For sure, yeah, especially in the beginning, you gotta do whatever, you gotta get those opportunities, build the fan bases, and if you have a cool show somewhere, you gotta go. You gotta get up and go. So.
Yeah, and Nashville right now obviously is the hub of country music, and a lot of artists have been discovered there, so for you, it makes a ton of sense. Obviously, you made the move, you made that transition, you're all in on the country music, and that's the place to be.
No, I just couple years, I moved to Nashville coming on 2 years, and it was just a no-brainer. Like you said, I was doing country here in Florida for a while, but I felt like I needed to be closer to the hub of writers, of executives, of the labels, of where country music happens. And it's been good, man. It's been good professionally.
Nice, man. That's awesome. So let's rewind and let's get into
it back.
Yeah, take it all the way back. when did you get into country music, and what was it that inspired you to become a country artist?
Yeah, so I think I remember finding country music. I was like probably 12, 13 years old. I remember the first guy was Darius Rucker.
Okay,
So, I grew up with Hootie and the Blowfish.
nice.
Every Sunday when the Dolphins would
Yep.
let me down,
Yep.
we would sing, I'm such a baby, yeah, the Dolphins made me cry. That was playing. And so I remember hearing a Darius Rucker song when he started doing his country stuff and recognizing the voice and just, bro, being intrigued by the story, by the lyrics, by the melody, It was a song, comeback song by Darius Rucker, first ever country song I fell in love with. And man, started listening to his stuff. That opened up a door to other artists, who I still know and love today, man. The Blake Sheltons and Dierks Bentley and Billy Curringtons of the world, the Carrie Underwood.
I love Billy Currington.
That era of country music, that early 2000s country. And I literally fell in love, went it head first. That's all I listened to, basically from that point on, until it influenced me enough to start doing it years later.
And were you always into music? Like when you were a young kid, was music something that you were around, you wanted to sing? Were you
100%.
in that space already?
Yeah, 100%. Like I've been singing for as long as I can remember.
Oh wow.
As a kid, always putting on little concerts for my family and stuff around the living room. There was like my grandparents' favorite thing is my abuelos would sit around, have me to put on a little show for them in the living room.
That's cool.
So I never thought I would do it I always had this vision of what I can be like a rock star, But seriously, once I started getting older, didn't know if that's what I wanted to do as a profession. Didn't know if it was a possibility.
Right. Yeah, because one thing is saying I want to do this, but realistically, and having that honest conversation with yourself, saying, can I actually, is this even possible, right? Like I have all these dreams, and I'm a big believer that anything really is possible if you put your mind and you work hard at it, right? But sometimes the universe will say, hey, as much as you really want to do it, right now may not be the right time to do it, right? So it is a difficult kind of choice to make, and it's respectable that the fact that you kind of take that leap of faith and put yourself out there, because it's not easy, man. It's not easy. I know you know it, but it's not easy. People don't see they all they see is the fame and the fortune and all the glorious things that come with it, but they don't see everything in between the lines.
My band and I were talking about that yesterday in the car ride, man, because there's, it's tough out here, and there's so many easier ways to make money. That's what we were saying is like, this can't be about the money.
Right. No, you can't. If you make it about the money, you'll quit fast.
Right. And I feel like that goes for a lot of creatives. The second you do it for the money, man, it's gonna weigh on you because there's so many easier ways to make money.
True.
This is a grind, this is a slog, and it's super, it's worth it. Obviously, you're doing what you love and your passion, but it ain't always easy.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of not glamorous moments, especially this past, the past 2 years.
It's a grind. But the reason you keep doing it is because you know that there's something on the other side. At least that's what you tell yourself. You convince yourself that, there's more, there's more. But you also have, a fan base, right? And the fan base really kind of aspires you to want to be more and do more, because you're like, shit, you know what? People are actually listening to me, Yeah. People are showing up to my shows. So there's also that validation throughout that process where you're like, I'm doing something right. Like people are listening to me and they're watching me and they're reaching out to me, all these things. And you're like, okay, shit, maybe I do have something on the horizon.
Absolutely. No, and there's moments that make it really worth it. It's a gradual climb, and little by little you start gaining fans and gaining audience. And then I feel like there's just a moment that pops a little bit, and there's, big growth. Yeah. And then again, slow. So yeah, you live for those moments,
Absolutely. So when you were, I guess, starting your career in music space, how did you compile your band of musicians and all that?
Yeah, so I started off, the first ever configuration of my band was just a duo. It was me and a buddy, Chris Ortega, that I went to elementary, middle, and high school with.
Wow.
Lifelong friend. But over COVID, we both had nothing to do. I started learning how to play acoustic guitar. He had been playing electric guitar.
It's crazy they say the whole acoustic thing during COVID, because we were having dinner the other day, and it randomly came up in the conversation. My girlfriend was like, "Oh yeah, I picked up the acoustic guitar."
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, not acoustic. What's the little?
Oh, the ukulele?
The ukulele.
Yeah.
And then like my brother's girlfriend was there, and she's like, "Oh, I got the ukulele too," and I started playing it,
Nice.
and it was just like a random things that people were picking up during COVID, and I thought that was funny because I'm like, I feel like a lot of those creative juices started flowing during COVID because people weren't distracted by other shit.
Yeah, I mean, you had nothing to do.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I was like, dude, either I can make use of this time or
True.
just get fat and drink
And waste
myself,
away.
and drink myself to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, so I learned how to started learning how to play acoustic, and my buddy had been jamming in his garage. He had a garage setup. He had been jamming, playing electric guitar for a while. We got together, we started jamming, and then as things opened up a little bit, we started playing in bars. And then the current band I have now was formed. One day I was in the Keys looking for more gigs, just handing out cards.
Nice.
I'm sitting at the Tiki Bar in Isla Morada. This is my last stop. I've been out all day handing out cards. I'm tired. Like, no one wants to give me the time of day. I'm sitting there and I hear some people setting up. And I look over and it's a band. Some guy has a cool guitar. And I go up, I talk to him, hey, I'm an artist, whatever. That guy ended up connecting me with my band. You know, I start playing at the Tiki Bar in that spot, and he configured the rest of the band together.
Holy cow!
And those guys, the core of that is still my band today.
Holy shit!
Cole and Blake and Stanton on guitar, all University of Miami School of Frost grads. We all started playing at the Tiki Bar in Alabama.
Wow!
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool. So this guy put you in contact with them,
Yeah.
and then you just started playing gigs with them,
Yeah.
essentially.
Exactly.
Holy shit, that's crazy. And what were they up to at the time?
Same thing, trying
Like
to find.
kind of just find.
Yeah, trying to find gigs.
There's all those like kind of like lost
Floating.
puppies, and they all kind of came together, and you guys built like a unit.
Yeah, floating, trying to find money, trying to
Holy
find
shit,
gigs,
that's
and
crazy.
you know, they were still at UM. We started gigging around. And,
Nice. And so your band consists of a drummer, right?
yeah, drummer,
Guitar.
bass player, electric guitarist, and me on vocals and acoustic guitar.
Nice. Oh yeah. And you guys are traveling all together. Nice. Yeah. No. Hey, look, it's when I think about the concept of like a band on the road, it's like a TV show.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes.
I'm sure the crazy things that happen when you guys are on the road,
yeah.
and the stories, and reminiscing something that may have happened when you were out there. Because you guys spent a lot of time together.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, hours and hours in the car. We were even saying yesterday. I know everybody at some point says this, but Cole, the bass player, is like, man, we should just put a camera and a recorder in here.
That's what I was
film
about to
this
say.
and
100%.
film this stuff.
Put a GoPro there on the dashboard and just capture
Yeah.
whatever the hell you can capture from that drive. Because there's gonna be gold in there for sure.
I was like, yeah, it'd be great. We're also gonna get canceled in 3 seconds. But
That's true. That's true. We're gonna have to filter and bleep out a bunch of
yeah,
shit.
we're gonna get canceled in 4 seconds. Whatever.
That's funny. So your nickname is the Cuban Cowboy, right?
Yeah.
That you go as the Cuban Cowboy. You're born here in Miami, but your grandparents are Cuban?
Yes.
Okay. So how long ago was your parents born in Cuba or your grandparents?
My parents were born here. My mom was born here.
Okay.
My dad was born in Puerto Rico after my grandparents got out of Cuba.
So your grandparents came to from Cuba to the States, and then your mom was born here.
My mom was born here.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, and like same thing. My grandparents born in Cuba. Mom was actually born in New York, and my dad was born here.
Nice.
Everyone had to get out of Cuba and start a life over here.
Exactly.
So how do you, I guess, kind of embrace that name of the Cuban Cowboy? Because Cuban music obviously skews more white American.
Right.
Yet us Hispanics fucking love country music. We listen to it.
Yeah.
I know we do. I do. A bunch of my friends do. We enjoy it, even though we're Cuban and we're Hispanic, but we really like the country music. So how have you really kind of embraced that name of the Cuban Cowboy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm super proud of it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just proud to represent not only my family, my grandparents, but also my community, man. Like growing up here in Miami, I just feel so much love for this place and for the Cuban community. And so I'm really proud to wear that name. But I feel like I'm trying to implement it more into my music. I'm trying to represent even more. And that's still a process I'm going through. I came out with that one song, Motherland, which was about my my story, but also is really the Cuban American story, which that hit here in Miami and in the Cuban American community. So I'm super proud of that one. I'm trying to do that again, but even better. I'm trying to implement those elements of salsa, of Cuban music that we love into country music.
Very cool.
Which is obviously my passion. I think it'll go hand in hand because, like you said, We love country music.
Yeah,
You know.
Well, I mean, when you really think of what the Cuban Cowboy is, it's a guajiro. You know?
It's Wahiro, yeah.
So
Exactly.
the concept of it exists. Your music's in English, but people, in Cuba were living on the campos out
For
there,
sure.
and all the farmland that they did, and their style of music was very different. It was more of like that country style feel. You're there working on the land,
For
and
sure.
you have cows. Very country-esque, but
Absolutely.
in Cuba, right? It's not like in the middle of Kentucky or something like that where they have their own kind of style of their country music. I feel like there's something to be said there. There's like the guait, can't say it now.
Guajiro, yeah.
Concept, but in an Americanized
sure.
version.
Yeah, no, so I'm working with my producers now. We're trying to do that and do it genuinely.
Right,
Not,
exactly.
nothing cheesy, but something that's really genuine and grounded. Sounds like country music
Mm-hmm.
with a country lyric, but just with these extra elements of of our background.
Right.
And of the stuff that my grandparents were listening to, that my abuelos loved, and that we still love today.
Yeah, it's cool. I think the Miami people have really gravitated to you because of that. People want someone to represent, where they're at and where they're from.
For sure.
And we don't really there's no one out there, So you've put it upon yourself and be like, I'm going to be this guy and I'm going to kind of own it, which is cool.
Absolutely, man. I want to make them proud, bro. I want to rep, and I also think, man, if you think about it, there's such a big lane right now, with all this, more people getting into country music, with the genre blending happening. There's such a lane for like representation for Hispanics in the country
true.
space.
I mean, look at what Post Malone's doing right now.
For sure.
Complete genre shift essentially for him, and I think he's doing a great job of it. But the country artists have embraced him as well and making music with him, and Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton. He's coming out with this whole album that's going to be full of guys. Yeah, I think Luke Combs is even on it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, a guy like Post Malone, it's like you said, it's that blend of genres, and I think not only are the artists embracing it, but fans are really open to the idea of what country music used to be and what it's becoming now, right? I think you have some old heads that are like, like you hear it all the time.
Yeah,
They're
all
like,
the time.
country's got into pop or whatever it is. But listen, it's bringing in a whole new fan base.
Of
People
course.
that would have never listened to country music now are listening to it. Morgan Wallen's had the top song on all genres. That tells you something. And I think it's just a shift because there was a point, maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago where it looked like country music was gonna die.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, no one's listening to country. I'm the only one bumping to this.
To this out here.
And I'm listening to the same guys I've been listening to since I was 12, 13 years old. But dude, it's been revitalized.
Absolutely. No, made a massive resurgence.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, you see all these other artists want to do country music because it's expanded, and I think that's great for the genre, man. Of course, you're always going to have the truest who like, we just wanted to sound like this and be like this. And
happens in the Latino space too. Like I'm sure when Bad Bunny came into the mix, those old heads were probably
not
like,
happy, right?
Whoa, no, absolutely not. But Bad Bunny's Bad Bunny, and he's huge. Morgan Wallen's kind of like that. I feel like in the country music world.
For sure. No, I think it's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I like what I'm seeing.
So now that you've been doing music for a few years, do you have a favorite venue you've played at or a favorite experience that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Country Bay last year was awesome.
That's right, yeah.
Because to play this massive country festival here in my hometown was sick. Growing up, I don't remember ever seeing. I mean, other than Tortuga, maybe when I was in high school.
Right.
I don't remember seeing a country festival here in Miami.
Very true.
And just to have that be right in Key Biscayne, to be on the lineup with some of my favorite artists that was an honor, bro. It was really insane.
And that's a pretty sweet venue when you think about it. Right there on the water, the beach. It checks all the boxes of what you would, what you want. It gives like that Zach Brown band kind of feel.
For sure.
Which is cool.
No, and they did it right. It was country, but it was Miami. It was like, it was boots, but it was bougie. It was awesome. It was like the perfect thing.
It's exactly what you would think a Miami Country Festival would look like. That's dope. What's your, I guess, advice if I'm someone that wants to become an artist and I really want to put myself out there? What would be a piece of advice that you would leave to someone like that wants to do this?
Yeah, I would say it's doing the uncomfortable, and I'm trying to even get better with that now. But it's that first step of like, I'm gonna jump into the unknown, and I'm gonna take that leap of faith, right? And unless you take those chances and start really devoting yourself to like being uncomfortable, I feel like that's the only way to do anything real major.
Sure.
If you want to do something that is special, it's gonna take some moments of like real discomfort, and I'm trying to get better with that and take more risks even now.
Right.
That's the only way to get forward.
Do you catch yourself when you're like in this process of trying to embrace the discomfort of like comparing yourself to other artists in the process? Because I feel like that's the biggest thing, right? Like
That is.
you want to, obviously you aspire to be someone, but you almost get caught up too much in what they're doing and like, oh, why am I not having those same results? Like, does that happen?
Man, you hit it on the head, bro. Like that's been the struggle the last year, really, since I got to Nashville, because I was over here in South Florida and in Florida doing this basically, in a small pond. Now I jumped into the ocean of people all trying to do the same thing, and it's so easy to compare yourself. I mean, you got my friends doing this and my friends doing that, and they're playing this festival, and they're just they just signed this deal, and they released this project, and look who promoting it. It's so easy to compare yourself and get discouraged and get down and feel like you're behind.
Yeah.
And I've just had to have a lot of conversations with mentors and just put my head down and say, I'm gonna run my own race. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna be unique. I'm gonna be me.
Yeah.
And pray there's a space for it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it really comes down to your unique brand as a person.
For sure.
Because that's what people are gonna gravitate to. And that's what's going to build your core, right? I mean, because once you've kind of build that core, then there's like a TED Talk, and it's like the hardest thing to do is get that first 10%, right? Once you get that first 10%, then you just have the followers that just come in and they gravitate to what everybody else is kind of paying attention to, right? But if you don't get that first 10%, it's going to be really difficult to get the masses because they don't really care. They're caught up on whatever's big and cool at the time.
Right.
But that core will be your foundation to bring everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I think, maybe you're at the 8% mark, and you're just that close. And I think sometimes a lot of people don't realize maybe how close they actually are, right? Because you're grinding, and you're not really seeing the results maybe that you expected to see or you just hypothetically want, right? But you could be right here and like there's no finish line, but where you really want to be is
right there,
literally maybe right on the next door you open. That to me, that's what keeps me going. I'm like, bro, I'm one door. It's just one door, one person, one moment, whatever that is, that could just literally be the difference.
That's it, man. And we see it like in country music, we see it over and over again. These stars that just pop, bro. One song to the next, and that's what I know is that, especially in today's world where you got TikTok, you can easily blow up on Instagram, you can easily blow up on, or just record one hit that just pops, and the whole world's different. Your whole world is different.
I mean, the perfect example is the Hawk Tuah chick.
Yeah, bro. Say one thing. You say one thing on an interview on Broadway, and then
it wasn't even. The crazy part is like someone was like, "Dude, she said 2 words and she's famous." I'm like, she didn't say 2 words. She made 2 noises. She said Hawk Tuah.
And everyone's like, "That's it."
Boom, famous. And it's cool to see how she's kind of evolved, But she had no social media.
Right.
She was just a legit regular girl. I think she worked for like a construction company or something, and she got on social media. The first day she gets an Instagram page, like over 1 million followers.
Yeah, insane.
And then she was like turning down brand deals, being very selective. She even got a gig offered to her by Playboy, I think, or something like that.
That's crazy.
And she's like, no, I'm not going down that route. But it is crazy. Like that's like that TikTokification, that virality that can happen from a random moment, and you really. The other thing is too, you really never know like who's in the crowd when you're performing, right?
Of course.
You never know. It's really about that divine timing, and I think that's what we all have to kind of convince ourselves and tell ourselves like, hey, I'm doing everything that I can do to control the outcome of whatever it is that happens in my life, but I am not going to get fixated on the things that I can't control, right? Because I'm working hard. I'm doing all the, you're doing all the gigs. You're doing literally everything that you could possibly do. And as you go through your craft, you say, okay, what could maybe I do better? Where am I maybe missing a little short?
Right.
Where's there opportunity? Yeah, and you adapt through the process. But sometimes some things are just out of our control,
100%.
and you just gotta trust it.
100%. Like, I can't control who's gonna see me, when something's gonna pop, when a song's gonna be a hit. But all I can control is putting my head down and grinding every day, and like not getting discouraged. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're doing everything the right way, and it's a matter of time before it happens. So.
Appreciate you, bro. That's
Absolutely,
awesome.
bro.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So you spoke a little bit about it. Darius Rucker was like one of your inspirations growing up. Were there any other artists along the way that were really like these are my guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Stapleton, because I loved him as a songwriter even before I loved him as an artist. You know, he's had so many songs. Comeback song was written by him. Your Man. He was a hit songwriter before he was ever an artist.
Yeah.
And then to make that transition to being an artist just because his talent is undeniable. Yeah, so I think he was a huge one for me. Kenny Chesney, obviously growing up down here, being on a boat on the water, listening to his music. Zach Brown Band's been big too.
Of course.
So yeah, there's been a bunch of artists.
Yeah. Kenny Chesney is the guy. Jimmy Buffett also.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
That's my childhood, bro. Like, and that's, you know, in my music now, you'll start to hear a lot more of that influence.
That's cool. Tim McGraw was someone that I listened to a ton growing up. My mom was the one that really got me into country music. We used to have a house in North Carolina when I was a kid, and we would spend a lot of time up there, and it was like in tiny little town. So all we did was ride ATVs and play Manhunt all day. That's what our summers and our winters consisted of. But country music, when I was out there, was like, dude, I'm like, this is nice.
Yeah.
You know, you just, like they say it, country music is good for the soul.
Yeah,
I really do genuinely believe that, man. Like, if I'm not listening to reggae in the car, I am listening to country music.
Yeah.
Like that's, and then, you know, it depends, like the mood. I maybe a little, like not house, but like that kind of like vibe. Just to like but it's country music 9 out of 10 times for me. And it's just because I think I've just built that emotional connection over the years of like, it makes you feel good. You know, no matter who it is, if it's Blake, if it's Combs, if it's Morgan Wallen, you know, or some of the oldies like Billy Currington, it puts me in a different place mentally. And I'm like, dude, windows down in the truck and blasting some country music, bro. Like that shit literally never gets old for me.
No, and I feel like it does such a good job of like putting you in a place, you know. Country music is all about stories and memories.
Very true.
And I feel like I can listen to a song and it'll take me back to a time in my life.
Yeah.
It's been like, you know, anthems for me throughout life.
The storytelling, I think, is the biggest thing that people miss the mark when it comes to country music, because people are like, how do you listen to something? I'm like, just listen
to what's going on.
And you'll get it. And then 9 out of 10 times they're like, shit, you're right. I put so many people on country music. It makes me happy to see how little they listened to it before. And then like I've seen them in like a couple of years. I'm like, look at, I see what you're doing. You're listening to it.
That's my parents, bro. My parents never. I didn't grow up listening to country music because they didn't listen to country music. And once I started, you know, loving it, I got them into listen to it a little bit. And then especially when I started, you know, doing it now as a profession, now that's all they listen to.
Yeah.
You know, they love it. They love the genre. That's their favorite now.
That's cool. I imagine they have a son that's in it. They better learn to.
For sure. Yeah, I hope so. Shoot, I hope so, bro.
All right. So before we kind of wrap it up, I want to do like a rapid fire question.
Let's do it.
Rapid fire question with you. Hey, give me your top 5 all-time country artists.
Oof. I think you got to go Luke Combs, Stapleton, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. Man, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Nah, we'll go Blake Shelton.
I felt like Blake had to be in there.
Just because that's my boy now. That's my boy now.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, he's still making music to this day.
Yeah, that's my boy now.
Still relevant.
Coolest dude too. When I got to meet him on The Voice. Yeah.
Oh,
he's the
nice.
Dude.
Oh shit, that's cool. Yeah, he's icon. I don't even know who my top 5 would be. I think Wallen would have to be in my top 5 though.
Yeah,
I'm a big Wallen guy. Just kind, I don't know, something about him just hits. All right, I think I know the answer to this question, but a lot of people get tied up with it. Beach or mountain guy?
Beach.
Beach, easy.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I ask people that question, they're like, "Nah, I don't. I think I'm a beach guy." But then now I think about it, I'm like, kind of like the mountains a lot too.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. You put me in a mountain, I'd be happy too. But no, beach.
Beach all day. And then third question, are you a Dolphin fan?
Yeah, huge, bro.
What are your thoughts on Tua?
I like my guy too,
like
bro.
Tua?
You know,
All right.
I had my doubts in the beginning. I still am a little
weary,
a little trepidatious. You know, a lot of money we just gave him, but bro, I'm rooting for his success, bro. I'm not praying on his downfall. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah! I think it's gonna be a good year this year.
Yeah, I think
have
so.
a good feeling about it.
I think so.
Super Bowl or bust.
Super Bowl bust, baby. Let's go, please.
All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you being on. I know you got a crazy busy schedule. I'm glad we got to squeeze this in there.
For sure, bro. This is awesome.
We're gonna be watching your story and watching your success as you grow, and hopefully we do this again soon.
Definitely, bro. This is awesome. And if I can say one more thing, I would just
go for it. Say anything
thank you guys for having me. If you want to follow my journey, you can follow along on Instagram, Orlando J. Mendez Music, TikTok as well. I have an EP, my first full-length project coming out.
Oh, sure.
Well, it's not a full album, but it's a 5-song project coming out in early October. So I'm really excited about that. I've been releasing a bunch of music, but this is my first project that I'm proud of. You got some beach, boat, and heartbreak music in there, so you can check that out.
We got a couple Stay Tranquilo playlists, so I'm gonna throw all the Orlando
That would be
Mendez
awesome,
songs
bro.
in there
That'd be
too,
awesome,
so they
bro.
get mixed in because it's a fire playlist.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, bro.
got
Send
you.
it over, dog.
I want to send it to you.
I want
There's
to
times
bump
where I'm
it.
playing on the course and random people, I guess, will hear my music and they'll come up to me and they're like, "Dude, what playlist is that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I got you."
I love that, bro. Send that over.
I'll add it in there for sure. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for Orlando's journey and for more awesome things to come. See you guys soon.